Welcome to Bristol, an independent, historic city, but with big ambition. Bristol is located in the southwest of the UK, 1.5 hours by train from London. We're a green city, one of the greenest in Europe, which will be celebrated in 2015 when we'll be European Green Capital. Bristol is surrounded by countryside. It's a city that doesn't sprawl, with over 1/3 of its area being dedicated to green or blue open space. But due to an historical underinvestment in public transport and its uniquely challenging hills and waterways, the city streets suffer from congestion twice a day, contributing to poor air quality and costing the local economy millions. Bristol is a prosperous port city, which has been exchanging goods and ideas across the world for centuries. It's a city of discovery and invention, creative minds and historic landscapes. Its unique mix of burgeoning industries, ranging from the creative sector through to microelectronics and sustainable technologies, have resulted in it being a resilient city that has weathered the storm better than most in the UK during the recession and continues to grow, both economically and in the number of people that now call it home. Sadly, not everyone can benefit from such wealth. It's a fact that dependency on food banks is growing across the city and that residents in poorer communities struggle to gain access to healthy, affordable food. Bristol has a diverse, multicultural network of communities that connect together to form a very vibrant city. We have our own Happy City Index, which aims to go beyond GDP as the predominant measurement of wealth and highlight the importance of well-being as an important determinant of growth. We pride ourselves on the city's high quality of life, which is why Bristol has been named as Britain's best place to live in a recent survey of UK cities. Despite this, on average, a resident of our wealthiest neighbourhood will live nearly 10 years longer than someone living in the least affluent part of the city.
I'm George Ferguson, Bristol's first directly elected mayor. In 2012, the 10 principal English cities outside London held a referendum for a change in the way that their cities were run. Cities from across the UK had the choice to vote for a democratically elected local leader. Bristol was the only city to vote for a mayoral system, which gave me the opportunity to pursue an ambition of making Bristol governed less by party politics and more by the voices of its citizens. As an independent mayor, I'm able to work with the city's many political parties to deliver real change. As I've been able to illustrate already, Bristol is a great place to live, but like any other city, it's not without its challenges. The council and its partners face an unprecedented test, with resources shrinking right across the public sector, just as demand increases for the services we provide. It's within this context that I recognise the importance of creating a healthy, caring city for every citizen. I want Bristol to be a place where the cared for and the caring, young and old, are respected and valued members of our society, and where living healthy, happy and safe lives is the shared aspiration for every citizen. Over the next few minutes, I want to demonstrate how, through a sense of fun, creativity and ambition, and willingness to embrace change, and most importantly, through working in partnership with residents in communities across the city, we aim to make Bristol a healthy city for all. When looking at what makes a healthy city, it's important to start with its infrastructure. The city is a conglomeration of ideas laid down by generations of Bristolians. Starting with the great industrialists and moving on to more modern times, the city has always adapted to the needs of the economy. Unfortunately, more often than not, that has resulted in a dependence on the car and the road network upon which it relies. In order to get people out of their cars and making active travel choices, such as walking or cycling, we need to make significant investment in the urban environment. As a council, we're investing hundreds of millions in transport infrastructure, including a low-emission Metrobus system and plans to encourage alternatives to car use, tackle congestion and increase safety. I'm a strong believer in active transport and like to use my bike daily in an attempt to encourage others to follow suit. Bristol is already one of the best cities in the UK for cycling. It was named as the UK's cycling city in 2008 and more recently has been part of a successful multi-million-pound bid to the government's Cycling Ambition Fund. By providing better cycle lanes and other cycling infrastructure, including free training for those who need it, we aim to double the number of cyclists by 2020. I also drive an electric car which is powered by the solar panels on the roof of my apartment. We're installing a range of charging points across the city and have introduced a fleet of hybrid and biodiesel cars. Bristol has an excellent network of ferries around its floating harbour, enabling commuters, local people and tourists to discover our unique central waterways by boat. It's also a great city for discovering by foot. Bristol's walking strategy is a 10-year plan that aims to make walking in the city easier, safer and more pleasant for everyone. The Council's website has a wealth of information on walking routes and local walking schemes to encourage people to enjoy the mental and physical benefits that walking delivers. Through encouraging the use of sustainable transport, the city will not only benefit from cleaner air, but fitter, healthier, happier citizens for generations to come. Bristol is home to hundreds of beautiful parks and green spaces. Many of these have been awarded Green Flag status, which recognises and rewards the best parks and green spaces in England and Wales. They are the lungs of the city, providing spaces for recreation, exercise and enjoyment for both young and old. It's hard to conceive that a 4-lane highway once split one of England's finest classical squares, Queen Square, in two. After a series of protests, the road was finally closed in the late 1990s, and restoration of this historic Georgian square to its former glory began. I'm proud of Bristol's dedication to providing good quality, local, healthy food in communities across the city. From teaching children the importance of making healthy choices to growing their own food within schools and allotments, the city is quickly gaining a reputation for pioneering healthy food systems.
We not only do cooking courses, but we also have a food co-op and outreach stalls to older and isolated people, people who are disabled, who have actually come here since we set the allotments up and started to grow from themselves and their families.
There's no point having all this great nutrition if it's not manageable on the very low and very restricted incomes that people have. So it does actually help them to manage their budget around food as well.
I want to encourage the setup of cooperative enterprises where local farmers will be able to connect directly with local communities. I actively champion the opening of new markets across the city with the hope that citizens in every neighbourhood will have access to local, sustainably grown food that's not only healthy but also affordable.
Cities are now the new players in food policy in the United Kingdom. Food policy simply means engaging with those people who shape our food system. It could involve, and it does involve in Bristol, talking and engaging with the men and women who buy food for hospitals, the people who commission food systems in schools, the planners who design the city to make good food readily available and accessible to the citizens of Bristol. So in all those different ways, food shapes the way that a city moves, the way it behaves. The health of the city is shaped by the kind of food that it buys and consumes. Food has never figured in the Green Capital Awards in the past. Bristol will be the first city in Europe to showcase food.
Usually health is about curing illness, and here what we're doing is working on creating the environments so that people are less likely to get ill in the first place. What Bristol has done is actually formed a partnership through something called Bristol Health Partners, which actually then links up a seamless continuity between research and academia, public health, and into the hands of practitioners and their planners. So what Bristol are doing, they're now feeding health awareness, if you like a health lens, into planning, practice, policies, the way they evaluate new proposals coming forward, and helping communities also see that there are barriers to healthy lifestyles in local communities.
To quote one of my great urban heroes, Jane Jacobs, cities have the capability of providing something for everybody only because and only when they're created by everybody. Citizens in Bristol have been leading the way for the past 800 years. This is demonstrated through community-led grassroots solutions and collaborations between business and academia to find smart, sustainable solutions to urban living. Involving citizens in the decision-making process is an integral element of my vision as Mayor of Bristol. As such, I've introduced the concept of youth mayors and the Cities of Service programme, which aims to identify how volunteers can play a role in helping solve local issues.
Bristol may well be at the cusp of leading a whole new movement that, you know, not just recognises, because we've got to the recognition, but actually drives a real citywide change.
I'm intent on changing the language. We don't close roads, we open streets to people. Bristol is the UK's street party capital, and there is a reason for that. We have a unique sense of fun as a city that we can use to tell the stories that make environmental topics human, thought-provoking and relevant to everyday life. I introduced a Make Sundays Special programme, building upon similar schemes in Bordeaux and Bogota, where streets in the city centre are freed of traffic and open to people over the summer. This has resulted in a fantastic array of ideas, from a water slide down one of Bristol's most famous streets to transforming it into a park.
We just wanted to showcase the diversity and the business of Park Street and capture that community spirit of Bristol, really, and just keep promoting everything that Bristol Make Sunday Specials do.
We came down a month ago for the slide, and you know, it's brought even more people out than then.
Everyone's coming together and talking, getting lots of stuff.
Only recently have sort of charity shops and stuff started come up here, whereas Park Street used to be known as quite an expensive street. So it's wonderful to have independent businesses actually, you know, being here and being able to show off wares and tears and handmade unique gifts and things like that.
It's what makes it a great place to live, doesn't it?
By opening the city to new ideas, we're able to see our city in a different light.
The Living City exhibition, that's really all about how our cities are really important in promoting health and well-being for all of us. And we've used the analogy of the body as a way to engage people with this concept, which can seem a bit academic, whereas in fact it's very much something that's the heart of what we live and breathe every day.
My ambition is for Bristol to be a small but exemplar world city, where ideas are not only welcome but also debated, tested and implemented, working to secure the city's future development. The leader of any great city should encourage invention and enterprise, which is why I instigated my Ideas Lab, which encourages people from across the city to submit their ideas via an online portal on how to make Bristol a better place to live, work and play. The size and connectivity of Bristol makes it the perfect testbed for implementing the latest innovations in technology. I like to take the best ideas from cities across the world and adapt them to the needs of Bristol. And I like to think that people will come to Bristol to borrow ideas from us. Throughout 2015, the eyes of the world will be on Bristol as the European Green Capital, the first UK city to win this prestigious award. Winning cities must prove they have achieved high environmental standards, have ambitious goals for sustainable development, and can act as a role model to inspire others. We won not just because of our plans for the future, but because of the citywide efforts Bristol's people and businesses are already making towards creating Britain's most livable city.
So much enthusiasm amongst the people and businesses of the city. You know, they've been waiting for this. Bristol's been trying to be European Green Capital for several years and actually finally won, and there's so much pent-up desire to show the rest of the world what we're doing and what a city that's 800 years old, that's changing its ways, what we can do together.
I'm proud we're a city that does things differently. Bristol 2015 is an opportunity for the UK to embrace new approaches to sustainable living throughout the UK, across Europe and around the world. I'm really sorry that I can't be with you in person today, but I hope that this film has been able to demonstrate how Bristol supports the well-being of its citizens and how collectively we're intent on delivering a healthy, caring city. Please do come and join us here in 2015 in our year as European Green Capital to see it for yourselves. And I thank you so much for inviting me to be part of your conference, and above all, for awarding us the Lewis Mumford Award for a Healthy World City.